Hello everyone, on today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Supercarrier Addon. This is definitely something a little different, one of those things that we've had for a little while but I never really bothered to check out until just recently. One thing I do want to say before we get too carried away with this add-on is it does look beautiful and all those things, but it kills my performance. I don't know what it is about it, but it just, and you'll see what I mean when we go to play with it. So anyway, let's get started. So I'm here in Cessna 172, and we have ourselves a lovely, beautiful carrier here. And you know what I really like to do today is I like to do a carrier takeoff. So I'm going to go up to the Miltech carrier thing. I'm going to go ahead and drop the elevator. Now, one of the cool things they give us, which I really appreciate, is they actually give us the ability to go ahead and teleport around the carrier itself. One of the huge advantages of this, of course, is as we're playing with it kind of a thing, is, we can just boing right up to the deck. But we're going to go through the process here and feel the pain that is trying to get one of these darn things and moving around on board an aircraft carrier. Now, it's a cool thing that I really appreciate about this particular one that they designed here is it is compatible with just about any airplane. I've done really dumb things like try to put a 737 on the deck. I've done all sorts of things. Obviously, so I'm sitting here at a 172 today, and the reason I picked the 172 and not like a Phantom or something like that is just, again, frames. You'll know what I mean when you try it yourself. In VR, this thing is an absolute blast. I mean, when you really look at it, you can see that there's all sorts of people walking around on the deck and stuff like that, and it's just wild. That being said, this is definitely not something that the good folks over in, Microsoft Flight Simulator land put together, because it's definitely a lot of little things here and there. We're going to kind of come up as we go, and it's not that I hate it. I really appreciate, like, I love landing certain airplanes on it because it's just incredibly fun. But expect to have a little bit of shenanigans, and you'll know exactly what I mean when you've run into some of these things as you start to kind of utilize it as well. Oh, man, I'm glad the wind is not particularly strong today. This would be a kind of a pain in the butt, but that's okay. So anyway, let's go ahead out into the gigantic elevator here. And one of the standard stipulations of all carrier work is that you can't have anything that is going to be wider than 72 feet. At 36 feet wingspan here, I'm not too concerned with that. But the cool thing here is I can actually come here and I can tap the key, and you'll see that our aircraft is rising along with the elevator. And I love this. I think this is just the cutest thing. And if you really want to terrify yourself, of course, set this to nighttime. And when you're sitting here looking out over this is just completely pitch black. I'll show you what I mean by that. It's pretty cool. Isn't that cool? I don't know, I just get a kick out of stuff like that. So go ahead and close that. It's a little bumpy. Everybody knows military aircraft carriers are not known for smooth suspension. So, just kind of part of the fun there. And we can enjoy the sort of ride up from the hangar. I just love the fact that they even include the hangar as something that we can get into. One thing you have to note about this add-on, by the way, is you have to disable collision damage. If you leave collision damage on, you will explode all the time. And it gets pretty messy. So again, we're just going to enjoy my little ride upwards here. By the way, don't press the pause button. If you press the pause button, it's a known glitch. What it will do on you is it'll actually force everything to keep the ship will keep moving, even though we are not, and that's a problematic. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on my brake there. I'm going to go ahead and give it some power. Come on. Come on. So I used to always call this the flight instructor shimmy. Oh, I'm still got it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to here. We're going to go ahead and call up one of the carriers. I'm going to request the right catapult here. And what you're going to see is if you look over there, I'm now being marshaled into a landing here. And I think that's absolutely wild. Now, the fun thing is when you're in the open sea and this thing's going really, really hard on you, you're going to really have a hard time navigating on the deck. Trust me on that one. You'll also notice there's a destroyer off in that direction. All right, you just come forward. You're all looking at me like, why did you pick this airplane for this? You should be in an F-18. I picked this airplane because this thing is, I want to prove some quick points here. So anyway, he's going to marshal me, and they do a really nice job here with the marshaling. Ooh, I'm working on it. Come forward, come forward. I'm coming forward, my guy. Oh my gosh, it just stops. Ugh, just a little bit of power here. Come on. I got it. I'm coming in. Full stop. So what we're going to do now is we sit here, and this is what I really appreciate about this add-on, is all these guys do stuff. They don't just stand here. It says spread the wings. Putting my arms out of both sides of the windows here. All right, he says he's good to go. The wings are nice and spread. And that's just kind of your last little bit of a checklist there. So what you do then is you come here and say, I've completed my checklist. You go, poof. And this is the fun part. You actually get to watch everybody go through the little motions here. Right? This guy does this little thing. They're going to go run underneath us right now. They're going to attach, probably they're going to use the cable method. Yes, we don't need a catapult launch with a Cessna 172. We can do it eventually. And this sucker will turn green, which is super cool. It basically says we're ready for takeoff. So I'm going to press this button. Of course, what I would expect him to do is go speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up. So I'm just going to give it full power. Here we go. He's going to tap the deck. And I'm going to hang on. Ready? We always make a right turn off to our carrier lane. Oh no! So one of the problems I've noticed with this one is certain airplanes, after launch, you will have control problems. And no matter how much you fits with your trim, and you can see I'm completely stalled past my maximum angle of attack, it's almost like there's 1,000 planes. And you can see some of the problems that you'll start to face when you use this mod, because unfortunately, as they mentioned many, many times over, is it was not designed for this purpose. So of course, we can restart here, get everything going again, and you can still see this aircraft has absolutely no lift. It's the way that the mod was engineered, and that's unfortunately kind of a downside for us. That if we wanted to take an airplane like this and get in the air with it, you'll see we're actually still being dragged by the ship. Now, if you look very carefully, you'll see it's pushing me. I don't love that, and that's just kind of sort of the nature of this beast that is this add-on. But it's okay, because we'll make it work. And of course, we're a Cessna 172, so we can just take off conventionally, especially if there's a wind. We have plenty of carrier deck here. I'm not too worried about it. I can do a hop takeoff if I'm really nervous. Yeah, we're going to drop off the deck. It's okay, though. And we're on our way. That's the great advantage of being an airplane like this, is it doesn't make it too difficult. So from the takeoff and launch perspective, you really need airplanes that are kind of engineered for that, for a specific purpose. So when you try to use kind of little airplanes like this, you tend to overspeed them, and then it just gives you all sorts of issues, as you saw in our little demonstration there, which is okay, because it doesn't mean we can't land it. Now, one of the cool things that they did with this particular modification, which I really got a kick out of myself, is the fact that when you actually go, let's make sure it's the line of the wind. When you go to the landing here, the landing does not matter. You can actually program the landing here, and if you go to the options, there's actually what they call always use modern arrestor. If you enable that, that actually means that you have the ability to actually go ahead and land anything on the carrier deck you want to land, which is, again, one of the reasons why I pulled my 172 out here. And that's just going to be awesome once we get to that particular point there. So we're looking at him. We're just going to go beam the numbers, of course. So what we should be doing here is we should be at about 1,000 feet. We should go through the whole process. That's perfectly fine, though, because we're goofing around right now and just kind of demonstrating what kind of a neat mod you get here. Now, the landing side of the carrier stuff is definitely better than the takeoff side of the carrier stuff. I'm going to say that about 1,000,000 times. There's all sorts of fun airplanes. You can launch this thing off, and you're always going to have a little bit of problems unless, like I said, you're an F-18 or a Phantom or something like that. Just it does that weird thing, like it drags you with it. It's hard to explain. But what we can do is we can land, and that's actually one of the things I really enjoy doing with this particular mod, is getting the opportunity to kind of set any plane I want down on it. Of course, if you want to fly helicopters or something, you're welcome to do that. And what do we have here? Is this that's an Arleigh? Good old Arleigh Burke, and he's going to be looking up at me right now, and of course it's going to yell at me saying I was out of range. Don't worry about it too much. There's my carrier here. We're a little low. That's okay, though. And one of the cool things here is they really took their time to get all the little bits and bobs on the carrier correct as far as to help us with the landing process. It's one of those things that I really appreciate here. So I'm going to go ahead and swing around here. Always keep an eye on the deck. We're not landing a sea area, and you can see I'm already at the correct height here. I'm going to go aim down. We want the deck to keep away from us. And you can see it actually gives you a nice little ball simulation there. And you can see that right now we've got the red dot and the ball right now. Okay, I hate the ball. The ball feels backwards to me. So when the ball is in the center, that's good. When the ball starts dropping, that means we have to pull up. The ball goes the other way, it means we have to pull down. That's just kind of the way. The ball is the deck. And that's the part that I get so much struggle with. There we go. And we need to come way. This is the problem when you're not shooting these things in the VR or the head tracking. It makes it very challenging to track. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and dirty up the plane here. And now one of the things I love here is we can actually land this plane, and it will actually capture it as if we had arrestor gear.
Roger, ball. Come left. You're a little fast.
Fast? What they're really saying is my angle of attack is a little high. So my deck itself is basically perfect right now. There we go. Deck's getting high. I like to actually use the ball on the deck for this part. um, I think that was the number 4 wire. But you can see there that despite all that, it does work. And we actually did grab a wire, finger quotes. And the cool thing, of course, I can release my parking brake, and then we can just take off and do it one more time. Like I said, it's kind of a neat add-on in that sort of sense. And if you do have aircraft that are compatible, like the F-18, you'll actually catch the appropriate wire. Also, your head position will be proper for the actual ball there. One of the problems with the 172, as we're so low to the deck here, is that the ball needs to be offset to make it actually match where we need to kind of hit with the front of the airplane because of just how far back we are. But as you can see, it's a pretty neat add-on. The landing side of it, in my opinion, is much more fun than the takeoff side of it. Like I said, it's just, they're just not there yet, kind of a thing with it. I love the little hangar bit. They give you 10 landing carriers as far as the ones that drive around, and they also give you 10 static carriers as well. And the nice thing is they make it really easy to get to them. When you're over here in the actual, kind of plan things out, you can actually type in the word carrier. And what it will do is it'll tell you all the different carriers that are available here, and it'll also kind of give you a heads up whether or not they're static or moving. Obviously, the ones that move, they have new problems because they're running away from you, which is good because you're hitting the ground speed's got to be less. The advantage of the static carriers, of course, is they're just kind of chilling. They're almost like airports is kind of the way that I like to think about the static carriers, but they do work very well. And again, there's plenty of these all around the world. So a pretty neat add-on. I wish it was a little more compatible with the takeoff side of things. Again, like I said, if you use the F-18, you won't have this issue. When you do move over to the F-18, of course, we have the ability to actually pop down the launch bar, which we got in the right spot. You told us to unfold our wings. Our wings weren't folded to begin with, so we don't have to worry about that at all. So we're pretty much good to go. We can say we're awesome. And of course, just like we saw before, you can see everything is automatically kind of getting itself. This is the Oceania carrier, and you'll notice we're moving here. So this is actually pretty slick because we get this opportunity to kind of see what happens once you switch to an airplane like this. Like I said, you won't have any difficulties as far as getting airborne here. You have full power there. Of course, I don't want to use the attack radar, but it's not implemented. Come on, that's like the best part. All right, everybody, hang on. Here we go. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Oh! Always off to the right. And you'll notice here that nothing bad happened in the slightest. And again, like I said, trying to use it in ways it was not intended to be used, there's always going to be kind of consequences with it. Using it in the way that it was designed to be used, of course, is always going to work really well. If we're in a situation where we're coming into a land with the F-18, a couple of things you'll see. By the way, one thing I did not mention was the fact that all these land carriers do have themselves ILS systems, and what they'll do is...
You're high, come left.
Yeah, I know. Problem when you can't see things because your heads-up display is jacked up too much. This one's got to be a lot more embarrassing than the last one was.
Wave off.
There it is. I ignore your wave off and choose to substitute my own. That was terrible. Enjoy.